November payment shakeup, what seniors must know first. If you're a senior, retiree, or someone living on a fixed income, you already know how important every Social Security payment is. The timing of each deposit matters, not just for paying bills, but for planning your entire month. And this November brings a change that many people are already confused about. So, in this first part of our update, we're going to explain exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means for your wallet. Across the country, millions of Americans woke up to headlines saying that Social Security payments are changing in November. For some, that created worry. For others, it caused full on panic. But here's the truth: your benefits are not being reduced, stopped, or delayed. What is happening is a shift in the schedule, and the reason has nothing to do with new laws or budget cuts. It's simply because of how the calendar falls this year. The most important change affects SSI recipients, seniors and adults with disabilities who rely on supplemental security income. Normally, SSI payments arrive on the first day of the month, but this year, November 1st lands on a Saturday, and the Social Security Administration doesn't issue payments on weekends or federal holidays. So instead of paying late, they pay early. That means your November SSI benefit is coming on October 31st, one day before the month begins. It's the same amount, just arriving earlier than usual. But because it comes before November even starts, many people look at their bank account, see the deposit, and don't realize it's actually their November payment. This early deposit happens several times a year, and every time it causes a wave of phone calls, questions, and confusion. People wonder if they're missing a check in November. Others think they received a bonus. But in reality, nothing extra is being added and nothing is being taken away. In the next section, we'll break down what happens for retirees, SSDI beneficiaries, and anyone who receives both SSI and Social Security, because their schedules look a little different. Why SSI gets paid early and why it confuses millions. Now that we've introduced the big headline, let's take a deeper look at the part of the system that creates the most confusion: early SSI payments. Every time the first of the month falls on a weekend or federal holiday, the Social Security Administration is legally required to issue the payment on the previous business day. And while this rule has existed for decades, many seniors don't realize it, especially those who depend on a predictable routine. This November is one of those months because November 1st is a Saturday. SSI doesn't get pushed forward into the next week. Instead, it gets pulled back into October. So instead of seeing your deposit on November 1st, you'll see it arrive one day earlier on Thursday, October 31st. To the banking system, this is completely normal. But to millions of Americans watching their accounts closely, it feels like a sudden change. What makes it even more confusing is that once the payment arrives early, the month of November ends up having no SSI deposit at all, and that's where the panic begins. Seniors check their bank accounts, don't see a payment after November begins, and suddenly worry that something went wrong, but nothing is missing. The money simply arrived earlier than expected. Another thing that adds to the confusion is timing. If you normally budget month to month, receiving money a day early doesn't seem like a big deal at first, but that early deposit means your next SSI payment won't arrive until December 1st. That's a long stretch, nearly 5 full weeks, and for someone on a fixed income, that gap can make a big difference. This is why experts encourage seniors to plan carefully anytime an early SSI payment happens. It doesn't reduce your income, but it does shift your timing, and timing is everything when every dollar counts. In the next part, we'll turn our attention to retirement, SSDI, and survivor benefits, which follow a completely different schedule and do not change this November. Regular Social Security payments, what stays the same? Now that we've cleared up the confusion surrounding SSI, let's turn our attention to the millions of Americans who receive regular Social Security benefits, including retirees, Social Security disability insurance beneficiaries, and survivors. The comforting news for you is simple: nothing is changing about your November payment schedule. Even though the SSI payment is shifting because of the calendar, regular Social Security checks still follow their normal, dependable rhythm. Here's how it works. Retirement, SSDI, and survivor benefits are not tied to the first of the month like SSI. Instead, they're scheduled based on your date of birth, and they always arrive on a Wednesday. This system has been in place for years to help spread out payments and reduce strain on the federal banking network. For the month of November, the payment dates are as follows. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th, your payment will arrive on Wednesday, November 12th. If your birthday is between the 11th and the 20th, your payment will arrive on Wednesday, November 19th. And if your birthday is between the 21st and the 31st, then your payment is scheduled for Wednesday, November 26th. These dates remain unchanged, predictable, and reliable. So if you're someone who receives only Social Security, not SSI, there is no disruption at all. Your payment won't be early, it won't be delayed, and it won't be missing. It will arrive exactly as it has every month. However, the confusion often comes for people who receive both SSI and Social Security. They may see one payment arrive early at the end of October and another arrive mid to late November. That double deposit can make some folks believe that something unusual is happening when in reality everything is functioning perfectly normally. In the next section, we'll talk about why this double deposit happens, how to interpret it, and what you should expect if you receive both kinds of benefits, why some people see two payments and what it really means. If you receive both SSI and regular Social Security, November may look a little unusual inside your bank account, and that's exactly where so much of the confusion begins. Many seniors check their deposit history, see two payments arriving close together, and immediately wonder whether a mistake was made or whether they're receiving some kind of bonus. But the truth is much simpler and completely normal. Here's what actually happens. Your SSI payment for November arrives early, depositing into your account on October 31st. That's because SSI cannot be paid on weekends or holidays, and November 1st falls on a Saturday. Nothing unusual here, just the standard scheduling rules at work. Then, sometime later in November, depending on your birthday, your regular Social Security payment arrives on its usual Wednesday. So instead of seeing one benefit at the start of November and another toward the middle or end, you see the timeline shift, one at the end of October and one in mid to late November. This timing creates what looks like a double payment, but it is not extra money and it is not an advance on December's benefits. It's simply your normal SSI plus your normal Social Security payment, just closer together because of how the calendar lines up. For many seniors on fixed incomes, this can feel convenient at first. Two deposits in a short window can make the beginning of the month feel easier, but financial advisors warn that you need to be cautious. Because your SSI arrived early, you'll go longer than usual, like nearly 5 full weeks, before your next SSI payment comes in on December 1st. This makes budgeting essential. You'll want to stretch your funds, plan your bills carefully, and avoid assuming an extra deposit is coming in November, because it isn't. In the next part, we'll talk about smart budgeting tips and what seniors should keep in mind when payments arrive earlier than usual. How to budget when your SSI payment arrives early. When an SSI payment arrives early, it might feel like a small gift at first, money coming sooner than expected. But for seniors who rely on these benefits to cover every bill, grocery run, or prescription refill, an early payment can quietly create challenges if you're not prepared. That's why understanding how to budget during months like this is essential. Since the November SSI payment is being deposited on October 31st, that means your next SSI payment won't arrive until December 1st. That's a long stretch, almost 5 weeks, where your spending needs to remain steady and controlled. Nothing has been taken away, the amount is exactly the same, but the spacing between payments is temporarily wider. Financial experts recommend starting with a simple step. Make a list of your essential expenses. Include rent or mortgage, utilities, medications, food, and transportation. When you see the numbers clearly in front of you, it becomes easier to pace your spending throughout the longer gap. Second, avoid assuming you received an extra payment. Many seniors see two deposits close together and think they have more income than usual. But remember, the early payment is still your November deposit, not a bonus. Spend it too quickly, and the weeks ahead may become difficult. Third, consider separating your SSI funds into weekly or bi-weekly portions. This technique helps many older adults build a gentle spending rhythm, even when payment dates shift. If you normally stretch your money across 4 weeks, this month you'll want to plan across nearly 5. Lastly, check your banking and my Social Security accounts regularly. Early deposits sometimes cause people to worry that something changed in their benefit amount, but in months like this, everything is normal, just early. In the next part, we'll look at how the Social Security Administration communicates these changes and why many seniors still miss the warnings, why many seniors miss these notices, and how SSA tries to help. Even though the Social Security Administration publishes a complete payment calendar every year, many seniors still feel blindsided when their deposit suddenly appears early. And honestly, it's understandable. Most people are focused on their daily responsibilities, medications, and bills, not on checking federal scheduling charts every few months. The SSA does try to warn beneficiaries, They post notices on their website, include reminders inside the My Social Security portal, and send updates to those who have email alerts turned on. But the truth is, not everyone logs into the portal regularly. Many older adults don't use email as often, and for some, the notices simply blend in with all the other information the government sends out. That's why every time an early SSI payment occurs, community groups, senior centers, local news channels, and credit unions rush to spread the word. They know that millions of older Americans build their entire monthly budget around one deposit. A shift, even if it's harmless, can throw off the whole month if you're not expecting it. What makes the situation even trickier is that some states pay additional SSI supplements, and these state-level payments don't always follow the same schedule as the federal SSI benefit. So a senior might receive their federal deposit early but still get their state supplement on the regular schedule in early November. This mismatch adds one more layer of confusion. All of this highlights something important. Staying informed matters. When seniors don't receive clear information or don't understand the reasoning behind a schedule change, stress rises and unnecessary phone calls flood SSA offices. In the next part, we'll talk about how state SSI supplements work, which states offer them, and why their payment dates sometimes differ from federal SSI timing, state SSI supplements, and why their dates may differ. Now that we've covered why federal SSI payments shift, it's important to talk about another source of confusion: state-issued SSI supplements. Not every state offers them, but several large states, including California, New York, and New Jersey, provide extra monthly support to qualifying seniors and adults with disabilities. These supplements are meant to help residents keep up with the higher cost of living in certain areas. But here's where it gets complicated. While federal SSI follows strict national rules about early payments when the first of the month falls on a weekend or holiday, state programs don't always follow the same pattern. Each state handles its supplement funds independently, and many of them maintain their own payment calendars. That means your federal SSI deposit might arrive early, but your state supplement may still be paid in early November, just like normal. This mismatch can leave seniors scratching their heads. Some people assume their supplement is missing. Others think all payments should shift together. And still others might not even realize they're receiving two separate SSI deposits, one federal and one from their state. Understanding the difference is essential. Federal SSI Arrow follows the national rule, gets paid early when the calendar requires. State SSI supplements Arrow follow state guidelines, which may or may not change based on weekends or holidays. If you live in a state that offers these supplements, it's a good idea to check your state's payment schedule. Many state websites publish calendars, and local senior centers often pass the information along as well. Staying informed helps you avoid unnecessary stress and ensures you know exactly what to expect and when. In the next section, we'll shift gears and talk about something many seniors eagerly watch: COLA increases and the cost of living adjustment, and why you won't see any COLA changes in your November payments. No COLA increase in November. Here's when the raise actually begins. With all the discussion about shifting payment dates, many seniors naturally begin to wonder whether COLA, the cost of living adjustment, has anything to do with these changes. The answer is clear: no. COLA does not affect your November payments at all, but understanding why can help you plan ahead for the months to come. Each year, the Social Security Administration calculates COLA based on inflation data from the third quarter, July, August, and September. Once that data is finalized, the new COLA percentage is applied starting January of the following year. That means any increase for 2026 will appear in your January 2026 checks, not before. So even though millions of seniors are eagerly waiting for relief from rising grocery prices, medical bills, and utility costs, November and December payments will still reflect the current 2025 benefit amounts. Nothing changes until January. This year's COLA estimate is around 2.6%, modest compared to the larger increases seen recently, but still meaningful for retirees living on fixed incomes. Every extra dollar counts, especially when inflation touches every corner of daily life. It's important to remember that even though COLA doesn't start until January, seniors often feel anxious around this time of year. People worry about the future of Social Security, wonder whether the COLA will be enough, and sometimes confuse COLA adjustments with payment date changes, especially in months like November when SSI comes early. But again, these two things are completely separate. The early SSI deposit is a calendar issue, not a benefit increase or decrease. Your November payment amount is unchanged, your December payment amount is unchanged, and your new COLA raise will appear in January 2026 without you needing to do anything. In the next section, we'll look at another topic seniors care deeply about: whether government shutdowns or political debates threaten their payments. Government shutdown fears and protecting your Social Security payments. Whenever there is talk about Congress, budgets, or political tension in Washington, seniors across the country begin to worry about one thing above all: will my Social Security check still arrive? It's a fair question, especially if you rely on these monthly payments to cover rent, medicine, groceries, and essential bills. But here's the reassuring truth: Social Security and SSI payments continue even during a government shutdown. That's because these benefits fall under what is called mandatory spending, meaning they are legally required to be paid regardless of whether Congress passes a temporary funding bill. In other words, your benefits don't stop just because lawmakers are disagreeing or federal agencies are temporarily shutting their doors. However, while the payments themselves continue, there can be minor inconveniences. For example, if the government shuts down, SSA field offices may have reduced staffing. That means longer wait times for customer service, delays in processing new applications, and slower responses for things like address changes or benefit verifications. But the payments themselves, the money you depend on, keep going out on schedule. This is why it is so important to make sure your direct deposit information, bank account, and mailing address are up to date before any potential disruption. Even though SSA will send your payment, an outdated bank account or incorrect address could still delay when you receive it. These errors can take weeks to fix during periods when SSA is understaffed. Another area of concern during times of confusion is scams. Whenever the schedule shifts or political news dominates headlines, scammers try to take advantage. They may call pretending to be from the Social Security Administration, claiming your payment is on hold or your account needs verification. Remember, the SSA will never call you out of the blue or ask for personal information like your bank number or Social Security number. Hang up immediately and report the call if this happens. In our final part, we'll bring everything together with a simple, clear summary of what seniors need to do and what to expect this November. Your November roadmap, what to expect, and how to stay prepared. As we wrap up this full November Social Security update, let's bring everything together in a simple, clear roadmap, the version that every senior, retiree, or person living with disabilities deserves. There's been a lot of confusion, a lot of rumors, and even some unnecessary fear. But now that you understand what's really happening, you can approach the month with confidence, clarity, and peace of mind. Here's your bottom line. First, if you receive SSI, your November payment will arrive early on October 31st. There will be no SSI deposit in November because you already received it before the month began. Nothing is missing. Nothing has been cut. It's simply an early payment because November 1st falls on a Saturday. Second, if you receive regular Social Security and retirement, SSDI, or survivor benefits, nothing changes at all. Your payments will arrive on the usual Wednesday schedule: birthdays 1 to 10, November 12th, birthdays 11 to 20, November 19th, birthdays 21 to 31, November 26th. Third, if you receive both SSI and Social Security, you will see two separate payments close together: SSI on October 31st and Social Security later in November. This is not extra money, it's just how the schedule lines up this year. Fourth, remember that COLA increases do not start until January 2026, so your November and December payments remain at the current 2025 rate. Fifth, no matter what happens in Washington, your Social Security and SSI payments will continue. They are protected by law and are not affected by government shutdowns. Finally, to stay prepared, keep your bank and address information updated. Check your My Social Security portal regularly. Be alert for scams. SSA will never call you to ask for personal details. And most importantly, budget carefully if your SSI arrives early because the next deposit will take longer to reach you. Your benefits are safe, your payments are coming, and now you have the knowledge to stay ahead and stay protected.